All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, and welcome to Territories Talk for today, a special show today, a Sunday, 24th of March. I'm Shirley Osborne, one of the co-hosts. My other co-hosts of Territories Talk are Christopher Famous from Bermuda, and Shayna Smith Archer from the British Virgin Islands. Today, we're going to be speaking with Anguilla. We're going to be speaking about Anguilla with someone from Anguilla. So let me, however, begin by just acknowledging our media partners, because Territories Talk is available online on your regular social media and through our radio and media partners around the island, around the region. Cayman Marl Road in the Cayman Islands, ZJB Radio Montserrat, Channel 82 in Bermuda, Radio Turks and Caicos, CBC Channel 8 in Barbados. And we're hoping to get Anguilla online sometime soon.
Let's make it happen.
So this afternoon we have with us a gentleman who is involved in Carnival and Festival and good times in Anguilla, put it that way. Mr. Ivan O'Connor, Mr. Ivan M. Connor Jr. He's the chairman of the Summer Festival Committee for Anguilla. We're going to talk about the festival, of course. We're Caribbean people. The people in general love festivals. Festivals are celebration and gatherings and connecting with friends and family and making new friends and so on. And we love that. So, yes, we're going to talk with Mr. Connor about what's happening in Anguilla. There are big things going on. There's a carnival site being built and all that. But before we go, Mr. Connor, tell us something about you. Tell us about 3 things that you think we ought to know before we have the conversation.
Well, good afternoon, Shirley. Good afternoon from Anguilla.
Yes.
Pleasure for me to be here. Thank you very much for the opportunity to not just talk about our upcoming 50th anniversary of our summer festival, our Carnival, but what's happening in Anguilla. In my substantive role, I'm also the public relations officer for the government of Anguilla. So I'm the one with the information or close enough to it. So that's one thing about me. Next thing about me, I have 2 beautiful children. My daughter's birthday is actually today, so happy birthday, Erin.
To her, yes.
And both of my children are Calypso Monarchs for the primary school competition. Actually, my daughter won it from her brother. After he competed, she won the crown. So the crown has been in the Connors household, so to speak, for a few years now. And outside of that, I am musically inclined. I play. So I used to drum, I play keyboards, and I could hold 1 or 2 little strings on the bass if I have to. But I'm not by any means an out-and-out musician. I play by ear now. My mom sent me to music when I was young, and then I ended up playing in church and the like. So that's 3 things about me.
Okay. You said church, so we had that conversation before, Ivan. Let's do this.
Yes. Happy Palm Sunday.
Happy Palm Sunday to you, and happy Easter in advance to everybody.
Same to you and everybody listening.
Easter is a nice time of year for everybody.
Very much so. Very much so.
The world, but it's a light, it's an awakening, a brightening of everything. Yes.
Yes, so, and it's actually a beautiful time for us here, not just from the point of what it means religiously for us, but it's where we have our seafood festival called Festival del Mar. So Anguilla is a marine community, whether it be our boat racing, which is our national sport, what we would have done in the past. A lot of men around are employed either in construction or in fishing, and we boast in our restaurants and the like of having the freshest seafood you can come across. So we have a really, really great seafood festival. It's in Island Harbor. You can get everything for the sea. Lobster, the best lobster you can find. Conch, every fish. There's fishing tournaments. There's boat racing. It's everything that you want to experience. It's a beautiful time for family and children to come out. If you're a seafood lover, all things sea, then that's where you need to be.
Yeah. What time is it? How long does it last?
It's the Easter weekend, so it's a 3-day basis. It's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Yeah, and you take very good care of your sea in Anguilla. I know I seem to remember that the waters around Anguilla are almost entirely national park. Yeah.
Well, some of them are, but we know where our resource comes from. So
Mhm.
so for instance, there's a conversation going on about national parks within themselves and the protection of our marine resources, and our fishermen have been very have done it sustainably. If you want to look at sustainability, where Anguilla are the environment is concerned, we're a very good model. So we have closed and open seasons here, but our fishermen dictate that because they do it all the time.
Yeah.
So there's excellent balance of what we take and what we put back. We've done a lot to protect our beaches,
Mhm.
and our offshore keys. And then Anguilla is uniquely positioned as well because we're the most northern of the Leeward Islands. So
Yeah.
that gives us a vast resource. We have 200 nautical miles that belongs to us that's yet to be explored,
Yeah.
to a greater extent in terms of fishing and what resources we can find there.
Yeah. And Anguilla, you have been kind of at the forefront of the protecting your marine. I remember it was probably 2006 or seven. We were sailing. We sailed out of St. Martin, um, and there were sailors. There were fishermen on board trawling as we went along. We got into Anguilla early in the morning.
Mhm.
We weren't trawling them, but the fishing rods were out. They were up in the holders at the back. They weren't thrown.
Yeah,
Um, and the Coast Guard came and said, "No, no, you can't." We said, "No, we're not fishing. They just did." They said, "No, we'll take them down because appearances matter." So we took them down. Yeah. So that it's
yeah.
really good. Anguilla is a beautiful little island.
It's tranquility wrapped in blue, and we mean it. I mean,
Pretty
like
raptor school. Nice.
you'll see it. You'll see it when you come for Carnival.
I will come
You
for
see it.
Carnival one of these days.
You'll see it. It's something unlike any other place that you'll see, and not
Yeah.
just the natural beauty is the people,
Yeah.
and it's the love that you experience in everything from the time you reach the taxi drivers, the immigration officers, the staff at the hotel front desk, even those in the restaurants there, at the rooms, just your rental car companies, wherever you are, there's just a natural warmth about the people of Anguilla that we can't help but exude. It's not pretense, it's literally who we are.
Yeah. Yeah. So tell me about where Anguilla wants to go as a destination. Because I know a few years ago when it was difficult for everybody. Anguilla had some troubles because we were building out, and then the world just went into a bit of a spin, and so there's a lot of construction going on that had to be halted or slowed down for a time. How's that doing?
It's buzzing. Like I commented on. So we have a show where government is concerned called Progress Report, and we spoke with the premier recently, and one of the things that I mentioned, the buzz of economic activity is so loud right now because there's lots of construction happening. The tourist market has not subsided. We would expect a dip around February after President's Weekend, and then you come back up for Easter. We haven't seen those dips. As a matter of fact, Anguilla has recorded its highest number of arrivals in 32 years over the festive period in 2023, and even the highest number of arrivals on the record for January this 2024, and the numbers don't seem to be falling off. That has been several things. Um, the tourism department did a great job, and I must single out the Honorable Minister of Sustainability, Innovation and Environment, who served as the parliamentary secretary at the time during COVID, to open back up the economy. I remember our premier saying we have to develop our appetite for risk. So when
Mhm.
Anguilla opened, and we opened with the bubble concept, it was adopted by other Caribbean islands. But we had a fixture for it. So persons traveled and came here because they saw that Anguilla was doing what they had to do during that period to ensure that their guests were safe.
Yeah.
Outside of that, um, the hotel properties, the charming escapes, the Airbnb market, and the like, they all came on board, and it was one chorus being sung.
Mhm.
It was who's the crowd, find yourself, and that really took off for us. I got to shout out Mr. Kenry Harbert, who is the chairman of the Anguilla Tourist Board, who really coined that phrase and helped with the packaging of it. And that has worked for us. Outside of that, interest peaked and access improved as American Airlines now has a direct flight from
Yeah.
Miami to
Mhm.
Anguilla. So that coupled with our local carriers like Anguilla Air Services and Anguilla having regular flights from St. Martin particularly, and these feeder markets, and Anguilla Air Services even expanding to Antigua and some
Mhm.
from St. Thomas, that plus our boat traffic with Fun Time and Calypso charters and GB ferries and even the Marigo ferries, there's access. There's ample opportunity for you to get here. It's not as hard to get to as it's been in the past. We've had several key partnerships, key shows that would have exposed us to a wider traveling public, and we've been able to manage that, all
Yeah.
still while maintaining our charm.
Well, that's a question I was going to ask you. You have direct flights, American Airlines, and so on. Your what's the average? How many people is Anguilla getting per year right now, roughly?
Ooh. Well, I know we had, if I can do a quick search, I think we had about 20,000 in January alone. Like I said,
Mm.
our numbers have been the highest they have been for this year. If I can do a quick search on my phone, I can tell you what the numbers were because I shared it in our government chat recently. Um, but the numbers have been the highest on record, and it doesn't seem to be subsiding. So it's not just American Airlines having the direct flights; it's everything that I mentioned before that's coupled with that, you know.
Hmm.
And then we have had other properties come on stream and actually even elevated the offerings, and then the Airbnb market as well, and the villa VBRO market as well. So in December of 2023, this is just December, we had 19,178 visitors. And this figure was a 27.9% increase from the corresponding December of 2022, which was 14,000. The numbers are growing exponentially, if you ask me. And excursions is something else that has been tapping up. So, you know, people go to St. Martin on the cruise ship because we don't have cruise ship traffic.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
they
Yeah.
actually come over to Anguilla for day trips. We have one of the most beautiful golf courses in the world. I think it's underrated, if you ask me. It's actually absolutely beautiful at the Aurora the Aurora Resort and Golf Club. And we have other things. Shoal was number one beach in the world at one point.
Yeah.
Our cuisine is sought after on so many levels. So you have these persons getting so close to Anguilla and making it their day trip to come over. So we had 59,788 excursionists between and um, January and December 2023.
Uh-huh.
So outside of that, too, our total tourist arrivals for this January to December 2023 was 94,944. And this was the highest annual figure for the past 31 years.
Excellent. So how do you reconcile tranquility with these high numbers of people?
It's the people.
Mm-hmm.
It's the people. For me, tranquility is a bit of zen.
Uh-huh.
As much of those as those numbers speak, when you go to a beach in Anguilla, you're not crowded.
Yeah.
You have your space. When you go to the restaurant, you are given this individual attention that honestly, it's not a show. We really take care of our guests. So we have a lot of repeat guests that becomes family. And not just family in the sense of the word. So at one point there was an ad that Anguilla Services ran. I remember it because it stuck with me. It says, "First visit after your first visit, you're a friend, and when you return, your family." So you have
Uh-huh.
people that have been coming to Anguilla for 10, 15, 20, 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
Prior to being in the role that I am with government, I served as the area marketing manager for Belmont, Cap Juluca, and Belmont La Samana. And when Belmont took over Cap Juluca, one of the prominent properties on the island, and I met persons who, pardon my expression, but I met persons who told me that their parents told them it's quite possible they were conceived here. So it's a family place. Like they've been coming for years.
You broke up. You broke up. I can start again. Start again, please. You broke up a little. People said what? You broke up a bit, so we missed that.
Okay, I said that I've met persons that had returned to Anguilla, coming back to be married or otherwise to vacation with their parents, and their parents told them that it's quite possible they were conceived in Anguilla, and they've been coming from baby.
Okay.
It's just something that draws you back, whether it ages back to our ancestral culture, the love that was exuded here, whatever it is. I heard stories of people that came here on the brink of divorce, stayed at the most beautiful properties, and then turned things around and been married in think 30, 40 years, 50 years.
Nice.
It's
Yes.
just something really, really special about the place.
Yeah. It is a beautiful island. It is. So you're preparing for people. You're inviting people to Anguilla. And one of the things that we talk about in terms of development, how we develop our small island nations for the future. Do we develop them? And there's a conversation going on in Montserrat, like in many of the islands in the Caribbean. Do we develop them for our people? You know, like how you build your house. You build your house, you furnish your home for your family, then you invite your friends and you accommodate them. When they're there, you cook the food that they want, etc., etc. But there's a fine line between doing that and building for the tourists. How is Anguilla managing that?
I would say very well. The beauty about Anguilla, and it's something that even my colleagues in the tourism industry, I had to break it down for them and give them appreciation. You know, this might sound strange, but Anguilla is one of the few places where they own where they live.
Yeah.
And when I say that, the currency of land has been passed down for generations. So you may have somebody working in the hotel that is a maid, a chef, a bus boy, but they have their own home. They have an apartment building, and some of the folks coming in management are renting their homes, have access to their homes. So it's not like we place ourselves in a lofty position. We understood very early, ancestrally, the importance of the transfer of wealth.
Yes.
It might not be evident in every aspect of our lives, but you would find that Anguillians, the young men, the conversation on the road before you marry somebody's daughter, you better build your house. You know, those type of things. And there's a bit of symmetry with that, because there's value that we place on those things, and that's transcribed into how we treat people. So as our economy, our tourism product develops, whether in beautiful hotels, the level of service or whatever, you experience that wherever you go, even in the home. Anguilla has been a place in the past, and even coming forward, and from being entirely honest, there are certain aspects of it that we have to get back to, but you couldn't pass down the road and somebody not tell you good morning. As a child growing up, if I didn't say good morning when I was on the road walking to school, my mother would know before I get home. You know, I thought it was strange. I thought my mother was prophetic. I had eyes in the skies or something, because she could tell me everywhere I pass. But the community used to look out for its children, and it was honestly a community that raised the children.
And we want to maintain those. So let's talk about festival. The festival is 50 years old this year, yes? And the history of festivals, carnivals in the Caribbean, there's a long history. It's come out of oppression and enslavement and resistance and so on. So run us a little bit how it started to be formalized 50 years ago and how it has got to where it is now.
So I often tell persons before I go with the history of where we are, I use this phrase a lot, but it's because I believe in it. I believe as Caribbean people, we're interrelated, we're interconnected, and we're mutually vulnerable. The difference between myself in Anguilla, someone in St. Kitts, St. Thomas, Jamaica, and even somebody in St. Kitts perhaps, is a boat stop. Literally, is literally
Mhm.
just a boat stop because we are all from the descendants of slaves, you know.
Mhm.
Um, Carnival is about our emancipation, and
Mhm.
it's 50 years for us. It started in formalized in 1974, and it's built around the aspects of our culture that we have maintained for us. So ours is very unique. Yes, it's about the emancipation from slavery, but we differ than many other Caribbean islands because of our intricate, our unique things that we've placed around our festival. So it started really and truly with the Anglican Church Bazaar, um, which was many years prior to our carnival. So church has a role to play in it,
Yeah.
and over the years it evolved, right? So it evolved to include our national sport, which is boat racing, which started because of our history as well. So we still pulled in all these roots and history pieces together. Anguillians back in the day, life was very tough in Anguilla, and our forebearers went to the Dominica Republic, where they worked on many cane fields, on many plantations in San Pedro de Macorís. And when they were coming home sailing, they used to race. As a matter of fact, the women that were left back at home used to be on the lookout point, looking in to see who would be the first to come home. You know,
Yeah.
so that is still included in part of our culture. The street jams and everything that you'll experience, the social commentary in Calypso and all, like all those things are still included in our culture, but they are intricate things and unique, very unique experiences that make our summer festival or our carnival unique. So over the years, you had, and a lot of this is even being brought out now as we're looking at 50. We have several talk shows. We're rebuilding the festival village, the Lansing Bowl Cultural Center rather, and persons are coming around talking the stories, you know. The fact that, you know, the men and women used to come together in the community and put up some zinc, some galvanized and the like to make the village. I
Mhm.
heard from a prominent musician bass player in Imali who told me 2 days ago they used to pull back the galvanize and sneak into the village as children and they like just to be a part of the experience.
Mhm.
The church, like I said before, the Anglican church used to be heavily involved because it's a celebration of our emancipation. For us, it's all things cultural. It's down to our cuisine, our Johnny cakes that you would have gotten in the built in the rock ovens. You know, is the fresh seafood. It's the jollification spirit that we even had when we demolished our Lansing Bowl Cultural Center recently. So
Mhm.
it's several things that you can experience that makes us unique, absolutely unique, and we've transcribed that throughout the years into what our festival has come to mean. And going on 50, celebrating the 50th anniversary, it is one of the reasons why we've coined our framed, our positioned our 50th anniversary of our summer festival as the family reunion.
Yeah.
We want everybody to come back home. So from the 21st of July, which will be the first official show event, which is the Tiny Tot pageant, to the 11th of August, which is our champion or champion boat race. There's something in between up there for everybody. You have your cultural shows, you have your pageantry, you have your street events, which is your parade and your Juve morning, which I gotta pause here and talk about Juve morning. If I'm going too
Go right
fast,
ahead.
I mean,
Go right ahead.
our Juve morning is the most unique in the Caribbean.
Mhm.
And
Tell
I
me.
say that without reservation because,
Trinidad might have a problem with that, but go ahead.
well, Trinidad can respectfully have a problem with that, but Trinidad's Juve does not end with a 12-hour beach party.
All right.
The
All right.
Caribbean beach party is the biggest thing you've ever seen.
Uh huh.
Trinidad's Juve may be filled with colors and more people on the road because our population is only 15,000. We hope to have 10,000 persons come home for Carnival. That's
Uh
my
huh.
number, throwing it out there in the atmosphere. But it's not an experience like this. I can boldly say that everybody wants to be here for Carnival and everybody wants to be here for Juve because
Mhm.
it's linked to our people, it's linked to our music, it's linked to our culture. Which Juve in the Caribbean, you know, ends with a boat race, of handmade boats that's culturally sound because the people making these boats has been passed down to generations. And
Yeah.
while this boat race is going on, there's a big stage and major acts, local, international, regional alike, are on the beach all day, 12 to 15 hours partying.
Oh, you make me want to come. You make me want to come. And I just might. You talk about us being all family, one boat, right? One boat stop. As it turns
Mhm.
out, my great grandfather, one of my great grandfathers, is a William Fleming who came to Montserrat from Anguilla.
Okay.
And so, the idea that we all connected, I think we don't pay enough attention to it, but we really, really are. I mean, I've gone to Trinidad and met people. I went to a meeting at the Houses of Parliament in Trinidad, and one police officer there had parents from Montserrat. Turned out that one relative of hers was married to an auntie of my father. So we were all very, very mixed up, and I love that. I really, really, really love that. And which brings me to, however, when you call it the family reunion,
Mhm.
and Carnival and Festival, they are us. They are when we come. Montserrat did there's some, I think it was 2012, and that's what it was, to a homecoming, we called it. And we started, I think our first one was 1962 or 64. Yeah, it must have been 62 because the 2012 was the 60th, yes. How much of an effort does Anguilla put into inviting Caribbean people to Anguilla? Not just Anguillans coming home, but other family members from the rest of the Caribbean to come to Anguilla.
So I'll tell you what. The effort has been there,
Mm-hmm.
but it's really elevated this time around.
Uh-huh.
And not just because it's the 50th, but I feel collectively as Caribbean people, we've gone through so much in the last couple of years. COVID, economic downturn. We've seen what happened with natural disasters in St. Vincent, coming off of the major hurricane Irma in 2017. We are seeing our economies rebounding. We see the advent of the challenges with travel, with regional travel and the like. We've gone through so much. So we've had a disconnect,
Yeah.
and it's time that we fix that. I often tell people is not enough just to talk. You got to touch and you got to connect. As human beings, we crave this, and this
Yes.
presents an opportunity for us to do that. I can talk about even our relationship with St. Thomas. St. Thomas Festival is starting. Well, they have their pre-events, but their festival is in April, May. And we have a special relationship with St. Thomas, not just because a lot of Anguillans migrated there, went for work and the like, but there's families still there. Even the BVI, who's celebrating 70 years this year, even Nevis and St. Kitts, because Anguilla, St. Kitts and Nevis was a tri-island state. We can trace enough and do the connections. We are making a special effort to say, hey, come find your roots, come home, connect. I have family members that I have not seen for years. I went to the University of the Virgin Islands back in 2000 and something, before I aged myself. um, and I talk to my cousin ever so often, but I haven't seen them in years, and they're making it to come home. We have, and I hope I'm not jumping ahead of myself, but we've worked on a cultural exchange with the festival there in St. Thomas, where some of our artists are going to St. Thomas uh, as ambassadors to welcome or invite persons from St. Thomas to make the
Awesome.
trip home to Anguilla for our summer festival. The same is happening even within St. Martin, who's right next door. St. Martin usually comes over for a festival. You have folks coming all the way from the UK. Number of Anguillians migrated to the UK during the COVID or right after, where the tourism and stuff was on the decline. The economy had kind of like subsided, and they are excited about coming back home.
Mm-hmm.
Wherever Anguillians are in the diaspora, whether regionally or internationally, we are inviting them back home. Wherever persons are who have heard about Anguilla and want to experience Anguilla outside of the peaks of the tourist season, where things are a bit more expensive in terms of travel, be it airfare or hotel rooms, we're inviting you to come home. Because
Yeah.
Anguilla has so much to offer. Like I said, our Airbnbs, our villas for rent by owner, our charming escapes. Persons may think that Anguilla is just about the luxury. There is that element to it. You have the Aurora Resort and Golf Club. You have Four Seasons. You have Malyahana. You have Cap Jaluka. You have Zemi Beach. You have Manoa. Um, you have, let me call some of the smaller properties. You
Yeah.
have the one back street. It just escaped me. You have the Great House. You have the queue. There's so much properties on island that you can experience something for everybody. And besides, if you're coming home, a lot of persons have family here. Call up that cousin you talk to in 15 years, cousin coming home. You got
Come,
room
yeah.
for you because truth
Yeah.
be told, the calendar of events is so packed, you know, you're not gonna
Yeah.
spend much
Talk
time
about
home.
that. Tell me about that, Ivan. Tell me what's in store. Tell me what we can look. It's what 11 and it's like 20 days.
Yeah, so we have several cultural shows. So you have the Calypso show. Actually, it's funny because we had a meeting with the Calypsonians recently, and there's so many of them competing this year. The ladies asked about the possibility of having a female show
All
before
right.
the man that were outside of the monarch. There are 10 female Calypsonians, if I'm not mistaken.
Uh-huh.
There's a junior calypso show that we're trying to reintroduce again. Like I said, that had fallen off because of the training and the like. You have the talented teen show, and I can't talk about the talented teen without mentioning the University of the Virgin Islands, my alma mater by the sea, um, who came on board in a big way,
Mm,
a very, very big way. The talented teen winner for the 2024 um, competition is going to win a full ride scholarship to the University of the Virgin Islands.
nice.
That's tuition and room and board.
Excellent.
This is the impact that we want to have on the lives of persons, you know. So we're gonna have the talented teen. We have the Miss Anguilla pageant, and I can't mention the Miss Anguilla pageant again without acknowledging a major sponsor in Motor World, um, who has come on board and has partnered with the Anguilla Summer Festival Committee, not just giving a Shangyang Jeep, a SUV for the Miss Anguilla, but one for the Calypso Monarch as well, and has also partnered again further with us and has given the Carnival or the Anguilla Summer Festival Committee um, a Shangyang Edo Plus. You got to see that vehicle; is absolutely stunning. As a raffle to be part of our festival.
Okay.
Then we got our street events, our parade of troops. We have our juve. We have our boat races throughout. There's no the festival cannot happen without two things: our music and our boat racing.
Okay.
There's boat racing every day during the festival.
Uh-huh.
And even now starting with the races this upcoming Easter and the like. Outside of that, you have the Soca Monarch competition. I'm trying to go through the calendar in my head without shuffling too much days. There are things that persons are asking for. They're asking for a mass camp in the school so the children parade can receive some added injection in life,
Yep.
just to get things rolling in that regard again. There's the Tiny Tot, an excellent show. The production of that is absolutely amazing. I personally feel if you're coming home for Carnival, because home is where the heart is, and the heart is in Anguilla, you should come from the 21st of July until the 11th of August. Don't miss anything.
The whole time.
The
All
whole
right.
Persons tend to come, and I understand the work constraints. Persons tend to come that Saturday or that Friday before the August Monday, which is August 5th this year, which is the Juve, and they stay for that entire week. But if you can make it, if you can find it within yourself to make it in the budget works, I would say come for the full extent. I'll tell you why folks like to come from that Friday or that Saturday before. Anguilla goes different with its music, its bands. We have something that a lot of the islands throughout the Caribbean actually envy in terms of our band clash.
Uh-huh. Go ahead.
Our bands go hard, the fans go hard. I chalk it up to the fact that we have one high school on island. one high school and island. So you know that rivalry that you build up. It's, of course, you have your house sports and stuff when it comes to that, but I personally didn't get a sense of that rivalry and pride and camaraderie until I went to university. Everybody doesn't get that opportunity. So you know, you rep your Buccaneers, you rep the Tigers are who are on a collegiate state. But when you see folks go for their bands, from the printing of shorts to singing the songs to the band that they're following for TV, but band clash, when the bands perform on stage, in they have the crowd going absolutely insane. Like they go hard for their bands. It's like how anybody would go for their favorite basketball team or their cricket team. You know, it's just something to experience. I actually spoke to a young lady this week gone, and she wanted to confirm when band clashes because she has to get here before. Yes, she wants Juve, but when you see persons coming into the Lancer Bowl Cultural Center via a crane, they have a crash plane in terms of their props in the village, and go all out. And it's not just there. This exuberance goes to so many different levels. And it's not just what's on the carnival schedule in terms of officially, but we have private promoters that are doing great things. We have a daybreak event called Eyes Wide Shut. Unlike no other. You see the sun coming over sandy ground, and you're down there jumping and holding and loving on your family and your friends. The ambience that is set, what O'Leary does in terms of transforming a playing field into a venue is absolutely amazing. It's absolutely amazing. I know he's working extra hard on the 50th because O'Leary is a carnival man. You know, he has this passion, he has this drive, he's a creative. He is looking to do something major. But remember, I told you before that what sets us apart is our marine alliance. We have the best poker run.
Again, I might beg to differ, but go ahead.
if Michelle or Banti were watching, or anybody who's watching the live, we can take a vote right now. Do we have the best poker run? I'd love to comment, because it's insane. You have boats coming from BVI, you have boats coming from St. Thomas, St. Martin, St. Kitts, and again, it's tranquility wrapped in blue. So everything that you're looking to experience, these beautiful beaches, you can go around the coastline, you pull up by this beach, there's fun, there's games. Outside of the beautiful beach that you're pulling up with family, you're pulling up with friends. It's an all-out party. You know, it's absolutely just amazing. And that's the Saturday before the champion boat race. So you can't really pick a 1 day or 2 day or 3 day. You need 2 weeks.
At least 2 or 3.
At least 2 weeks, 10 days minimum. And outside of that, like again, even on that Saturday when you have the poker run, you have the Leeward Islands Calypso Monarch. So the different winners for the Calypso Monarchs from Montreal, St. Kitts, Antigua, wherever they come from, they come to Anguilla for the show. To win the Leeward Islands Calypso Monarch, our festival, our summer festival, this is what makes us different. This is what makes us unique to everything else that is going on out there. Not because we're small in size mean that we don't have it. I understand Trinidad. I understand wherever else big mass is played, but we got something special.
Awesome. Yes. Well, we get the enthusiasm, Ivan. We get it, and I hope the people who are listening, but I know they get the enthusiasm. I hope that as many of us act on it as possible. Thank you so much. We're running out of time. I have one last question for you, and then we're going to say goodbye. But this has been, I mean, Carnival is exciting and fun. In Monza, we just finished what we call it Green Week, we call it St. Patrick's, we call it March 17th, we call it Rebellion, we call it all kinds. We haven't quite settled that thing yet, but that also is building into something nice and unique. And of course, Monza was very happy to have been at the Carnival, the Calypso competition last year. We were very happy to have been there.
Very happy to have been there. I like how you put it. Congratulations.
Thank you. You are building, you're building up Carnival City. Tell us about that. In what's the plan for that? Because a lot of Carnival, the shows and so on will go on there, and all the community stuff will continue to happen around the island, on the beaches and so on.
Yes.
Tell us about Carnival City.
So our Lansam Bowl Cultural Center needed a facelift.
Mm-hmm.
What this administration, the current administration, did when they came in is they looked at the MOUs that were signed, are signed with this foreign investors. So we have hotels, we have people doing things in Anguilla, and there's a clause built into the memorandums of understanding that they have to attach their development as well to a social project. So Dart KY, who are the recent proprietors or owners of the Four Seasons Resort, it was sold to them. We
Mm-hmm.
have a memorandum of understanding with Dart, and they have made their social contribution be the redevelopment of the Lansable Cultural Center. It needed repairs for far too long, you know, and they are injecting more than 4 million US dollars into the redevelopment of the Lansable Cultural Center. So
Mm-hmm.
we have drawn a new Lansable Cultural Center. We have two contractors. I have to show them out. GT Construction, Mr. Greg Hughes, and Leeward Construction, Mr. Leroy Gums, who are moving at a rapid pace. I tell people it may seem like they're moving too fast, but two things I've learned about construction. Once you have material, men, and money, three M's,
Material
it
men
moves.
and money.
Material, men, and money. And
Yeah.
machinery, you can add another one to it. When you go there on any given day, it's about 100 men on site. There's excavators, concrete trucks, pickup trucks, whatever you need is cranes. There's everything there on site, and they are moving. Outside of that, they're moving with Anguilla pride because everybody has concerns about our festival approaching, and you're building this massive structure.
About to ask you that. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Guarantee you that it's going to be ready way in
Okay.
advance as well. They poured the floor for the stage yesterday. They poured the roofs for the first 7 booth buildings yesterday, and they're moving at a rapid pace. They're going to pour the floor for the lobby booth this Tuesday, and another 7 booths. I know they're running the blocks now for the backstage area, and then once they do that, they're going to pour the roof, and then upstairs will be the office space for the Department of Youth and Culture. Then they're going to pour the floor on the inside, connect the walls, run the electricals, do their little glazing, electricity, painting,
Mm-hmm.
and then we're gone clear. We have a brand new festival village, our Lansam Bowl Cultural Center, not just for our summer festival activities, but other shows, graduations,
Yeah.
whether it be gospel shows, whether it be seminars, markets, whatever you want to experience, that's going to be there. Just something that touched my came back to memory. Another part of our summer festival is a car show as well. We have a very, very, very large car culture, where they put in the set and those type of things and they modify these cars. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
they're having a car show as well. Base heads, I'm gonna shout them out. They came on board and they're having a car show for the summer festival.
That
I
sounds good.
must tell you again, I probably taking up too much of your time, but you can see I'm excited.
I can see that. I can see that. Let's run with it.
You can experience Anguilla's summer festival and their events and their activities however you like. If you get seasick and you don't want to be on a party boat, or you don't want to go around the island on the boat because you have things to do, you can experience Poker Run from the land. I've
Uh-huh.
had since I've even done it myself. You drive to the stops that you want to go to, because when you get to those stops, like I'm telling you, there's activity, there is games, there's drinks, there's whatever you need at these stops. When you
Yeah.
go to something like Eyes Wide Shut, like I say, it's a daybreak fest. So it starts from about 12 in the night. If you decide that, okay, I am going to go to Calypso show the night before, and I'm going to get up at 6 o'clock, get 4 hours sleep, because Calypso show probably finish at 1, and I'm going to get to Eyes Wide Shut, you can get there and it doesn't feel like it's stopped. You know,
Uh-huh.
there is so much that you can experience all by planning your schedule, doing it together. And what makes it extra special this year, not just because it's 50, but we are taking an active role, listening to the persons in the community, what they want to experience, and making sure that we honor those from the past, those that would have contributed,
Yeah.
those that would have created Anguilla's sound, from the Mussington Brothers and Nard sound to Vito to Better Band to AXA Band to Infusion XL
Yeah.
to PVI to Exodus, like the things that make us unique, the things that have transcended for years. We're going to make sure that those things are on display. And the one thing that's on display right now, this is the last thing that I'm touching, is that true Anguilla spirit and that true Anguilla pride. I came across a video the other day with a cousin of mine. His name is Jason Brooks. They call him Doggy. He lives close to the festival village. And the video warmed my heart because the village, now as we call it, the Lansing Cultural Center, doesn't get used all the time. And this video was from way back, and he was like, "This is ours." He went out with some guys and started cleaning the village, preparing the walls, the overgrowth of shrubs and the thing. And this is something that people in the community do for years. They
Yeah.
take pride in what we have to offer. So similarly, when you mentioned it earlier, you got family coming home, you're gonna prepare your house. That's what we're doing with the village. That's what we're
Nice.
doing with our products. That's why we're talking to our partners in the Anguilla Hotel and Tourism Association to make sure that our CARICOM rate, as they call it in the industry, is available. That's why we're talking to persons that have Airbnbs. That's why we're talking to our regional carriers, our local carriers, our boat operators, our rental car companies. Everybody is making ready to welcome you, Shirley, our
Yes,
friends from
sir.
Bermuda. This is an official invitation to our friends from Bermuda. You can get to Anguilla many, many means, through Miami, through New York, St. Thomas, St. Martin, wherever you fly to, you can get to Anguilla, get here direct from Miami or otherwise. Our friends and family and friends across the Caribbean and in
Yes.
the diaspora, whether in the US, the UK, wherever you are, come home. Is a family reunion from July 21st until August 11th.
All right. From July 24th till August 11th, get your bathing suits, your sunblock, your beach towel, and let's go to Anguilla. It sounds like fun.
And abroad,
And a broad hat. Yes. Thank you so very much, Ivan. This was a really exciting conversation. We
thank you for
get
having me.
we are all excited about Anguilla now. Wish you all the very best for the 50th and beyond.
Thank you very much.
You take good care. Congratulations on your calypso, your children's calypso prowess.
Yes, thank
And
you.
I'm glad Anguilla's doing well. I'm really glad Anguilla's doing well. We talked about church earlier. My first visit to Anguilla was when I was in AYPA
Oh, wow.
many years ago. That was my first visit. We got the ferry from St. Martin, went over to Anguilla, and I've been there several times since. I really like Anguilla, and I like what you're doing. And I think we all wish that you manage to maintain. It's a fine line, and you seem to be managing it so far. We've talked to people in Anguilla on Territories Talk about how you're maintaining. We talked to Quincy Gums, for example, about maintaining the environment and so on. We really hope it. Anguilla has beautiful waters, the most amazing beaches.
That's a
And
fact.
yes, really lovely. And those little islands with the sandflies and so, I've been to a quick story before. My last little story. Again, we were sailing in Anguilla in the islands. I can't remember which one it was, but we were all prepared to go out to sunset and have coffee on the beach. We had coffee and cake all organized on the boat. We got there, then got to land, and we had to do the Caribbean thing. We got back into the water because it was sundown and the flies came out. Flies came out. It's an experience that we still talk about. So all of these get to create Anguilla. Thank you so very much, Ivan. Take good care. Happy Summer Festival. Those of us who can be there will certainly come, and be safe. Take
Thank you
good
very much. Same to you, and I hope to see you.
You will.
All right, perfect. I got it on tape. I got it on camera. There's the commitment. You, your friends, and your family. Let everybody know they have to be in Anguilla, July 21st to August 11th.
Yes.
Thank
All
you.
right. Take good care.
Cheers.
Bye. Bye.
All right.
All right.
Yes. Madam Speaker.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
That was
You
a
said,
great interview.
oh, good. Thank you. I was trying, it went longer than we had planned, but it was good. He was really good. He was really good to talk to. Yes.
So,
Yeah.
you're back in Montserrat now, I understand?
I'm back in Monza. I came back in on Saturday night.
And how's
Yes.
things in Montserrat?
Well, it's settling down now because St. Patrick's Week thing just ended. St. Patrick's 10 days of festivities and misbehavior and late nights and family fights and family gatherings and all kinds of amazing things. It's just over. So people are back to work this week. Today basically is the beginning. Last week was just kind of winding down. And winding down from that and getting ready for elections. Elections is on everybody's mind. That's the big thing in the air. So
Elections? What's that? What's that called?
what
Elections?
is that?
Educate the people in the Caribbean about elections in Montserrat.
Oh my goodness. We are going to be electing a new government. And it's been 5 years since the last election.
Must say potentially.
Potentially. And I will add no emotion to that. Not a hope, not hope, not. It is end of every month. It has 5 year election cycles. And this year is the end of one. And so there's an election coming up. We'll see what comes out of that. My hope, everybody's hope is that what comes out of that is a bright new step forward for Montserrat. We've had a rough time, Chris. You know that the last 24 years, more than 24 years. We're going on 30 years almost, actually 28 years. We're going on 30 years since the volcanic eruptions, and just, it's been really, really rough. Then COVID just knocked, like everybody else, knocked us all back. And we're trying to recover, trying really hard. We've lost so many people. We lost our population with the volcano. People are trying to say, shall I come home? Shall I not? What's there? What's not there? We are struggling with the new, the new recolonization, the colonization 2.0, call it whatever you will. We're struggling with these new dispensations and relationships that need to be managed. So everybody's kind of on tenterhooks and hoping that we get it right this time. We really hope so.
What is the for those who don't know, what is the population of Montserrat?
Depending on who you ask, it's 4,000, it's 4,005, it's 4,006. It's somewhere between 4 and 5,000.
Okay, so 5,000 persons max. And what is the voting population in Montserrat?
The voting population is 3,000 and something. And I had a conversation before, and I was going to look for it. They just did the census. I was going to look for it, but then I got into the conversation. But in Montserrat, we have everybody votes for everybody. So we don't have districts.
Okay.
Since volcano.
What they call that proportional representation.
They call it
well, in Tortola and Anguilla, we call it all island or at large.
Yeah, but everybody here is at large. Everybody wants it is at large because when people left, remember that 2/3 of the island, more than half of the island, nobody lives on there, and so many people have left. So even we actually have distinct districts. We still have, you can see them, but they're so small individually, it doesn't make sense. So we still have all 9, and so therefore all of those people get to choose among the 9. So it's no longer, you wouldn't have like 1,000 people voting. You have these 3,000 and something people who decide amongst the 9. And so some people get 2,000 plus votes, It's interesting, but it has served. But of course, people are asking the question, who's my representative? If I live here, who do I go to? And that's a problem. But we've had conversations about that. The Electoral Commission has done some work on that over the years. The government has made no particular moves to address many of those recommendations. But they will have to be at some point. As we move forward, we'll have to make those changes.
So what are the for those who don't know, There's a lot of people. Shout out to our media partners, KM Malroad, Channel 82 in Bermuda, ZJB in Montserrat, Radio Taxi Caicos Island, and CBN Radio in Virgin
Barbados.
Islands.
In Virgin Islands,
And
yes.
CBC Channel 8 in Barbados as well. Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
For those who don't know, what are the names of the political parties in Montserrat?
Well, the ones that we know so far, there is MCAP, the Movement for Change and Prosperity. That's the government party. There is the PDM, People's Democratic Movement, which is which is in opposition. The majority of people in the opposition are of that. There's one independent member in the opposition. There is the United Alliance, which was created this year by the former premier, who was the founder of MCAP, but has decided that it's time to form a new party. There's a fourth party. People are talking about a fourth party. We don't have a name yet. We don't have any members yet. We don't know. It's in the air, but we don't know yet. So at the moment, we have 3. We think we might have 4 parties running. You know, let me just say on that, people are saying that people are having a problem with that. And speaking of the number of independent, last election, the one before, we had 30, 33, 36, roughly 35 candidates all together. And people are saying, are that many people? And as if it's a problem. I think it is excellent because it means that lots of people are engaged in the process, and it means that lots of ideas are coming through. You only want 9 out of the 36, but you get 36 different perspectives being talked about. I think that's important and helpful. And so I have a problem with the party system because I don't think it works for us, for our jurisdictions. And the whole idea of opposition, setting people against each other, doesn't work for us for development. But we have what we have, and so we work with it. But I like that lots of people are engaged in the political process. I like that lots of voices a lot of people are putting their voice in. I really do.
Okay. So I guess we would get someone who is, I guess you would say, neutral to come and explain a little bit more about Montserrat politics, yeah. So you don't get accused of using your platform
to do politics. Yes, that's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll think of someone.
Because we as people in the Caribbean, we don't understand that each island has a different, slightly variations of political systems. Mm-hmm. And it's good to, from a civics point of view, to educate each other. Because, for example, in Cayman Islands, where we have a large following, they really don't have parties. They have independents that form alliances just after the election. But
and that's problematic
for all intents and purposes, everybody that's elected in Cayman Islands is an independent MP. In Bermuda, we have 2 main parties. In BVI, there's maybe about 4 different parties. So there's variations, but I think it's good to have a show just talking about the variations in the different islands. You know?
Yeah, I think so. And I think it's important just so that we know. And I mean, we are developing, all of us developing states. We're trying to get to somewhere still, and just having the information, seeing how we deal with the different issues. You know, I look at how Bermuda manages something. Bermuda, we look at how, you know, Turks and Caicos manages something else. I think that's important because we are trying to find the solutions, the responses, the systems that work for our particular instances. And like you said, we're very similar in many ways. Just like Ivan said earlier, we are family. We're very similar in many ways, but we have our distinctnesses. Just like sisters and brothers, same gene pool, but very different. And so the differences have to be taken into account. And I find them sometimes something.
Yeah, and that's the thing, Mr. Connor put it perfectly, is that just remember, when we came across the water from Africa, the west coast of Africa, we came as enslaved persons. We weren't. It wasn't like a Royal Caribbean cruise line where we picked our destinations.
Yeah.
And if one ship chose to go to Montserrat, the other ship chose to go to Jamaica, that determined who you're going. Not say who you're going to be, but who your descendants are going to live. And one of the things that the colonial powers have been very good at over the centuries is to hit us against each other.
Yeah.
The Montserratians against the Antiguans
Yeah.
against the Cotitians against everybody, that type of thing, right? So it's only served to help those that don't like us. So
Yeah.
again, I want to thank, as we close up, I want to thank Mr. Ivan M. Connor Jr. for coming on the show. I want to thank, there's a lady who's originally from St. Kitts, Sandy Point, who put it together, Miss Maxine Herbert Duggins. She's from St. Kitts, Stacia, and Anguilla. So, you say we're all related, right? And most of all, I want to thank those who are tuning in on tuning
Yes.
in to us, whether it be Sunday or a Wednesday, as we inform and unite. And a special shout out to our co-host, Shayna M. Archer
Yes.
Smith, Shayna M. Smith Archer from Frenchman's Key in the beautiful Virgin Islands. So later on this week, we'll be having another show where we'll be talking about the situation going on in Haiti.
Yeah.
Which is something that we all need to educate ourselves about.
Excellent.
So,
all right.
Madam Speaker, the floor is yours.
All right. Thank you very much, Chris. It's good to see you again. Good working with you as always. Thank you again, Mr. Connor. Thank you. Thank you, Anguilla, for letting us do this. Thank you for listening. Those of you who made comments, sorry, the conversation was just so exciting. I read your comments and nobody asked a question. So thank you for listening. Thank you for participating. And
they were making a lot of statements. They were bragging about who has
a
better poker run.
Best and so on.
TBI has a better poker run. Guess you have to have a conversation, a show talking about what's a poker run. Some people don't know what the poker run is.
Yes, sounds good.
Thank you everyone for tuning in, and we'll be back this Wednesday where we'll be talking about the situation going on in Haiti, that we should all educate ourselves. And I just see a big thing coming in from the boss lady herself, Maxine Herbert Duggins, of Sandy Point and of Anguilla and of Stacia Heritage. So yes, and condolences to her. She just lost her aunt, Miss Sadler, who lives in St. Martin. So you see how war related.
And so it's possibly Herbert too, because the Herberts in Montserrat who went to St. Kitts. Who knows? All right.
Her dad was Mr. Billy Herbert of St. Kitts.
I know Mr. Billy Herbert. Mr. Billy Herbert and my father were friends. Okay. See, Montserrat. That's it. All right. One family.
You could actually see Montserrat from Nevis, right?
Yes. Nevis is right here. And on a clear day, you can see, if you're a little bit higher, you can see St. Kitts behind that, and a little bit you can see Stacia. You gotta see them. Yeah. I love these little islands. I love us. I love us very much. All right. Take care.
Have a blessed day, everybody. Love you all, and continue to inform and unite ourselves about our Caribbean family.
Excellent. All right. Bye-bye.